Hello everyone, my name is Naomi. Welcome back to my channel. I've been wanting to talk for quite a while about synthetic fabrics versus natural fabrics, and I decided that right now, while we're on this lockdown, is a really good time for me to do this. So, let's start off by talking about plastic. Plastic was first invented in 1907. It was made from phenol and formaldehyde. Yes, formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is part of plastic. Formaldehyde is pretty nasty stuff. It's been linked to autoimmune issues as well as a number of other things. Formaldehyde is super, super, super bad. So, as someone who suffers from autoimmune issues, it only makes sense that I would start to eliminate plastic from my life. Plastic, although it was invented in 1907, it really didn't become a big, huge thing until the 1960s. I've got a list here, 1931, RCA Victor introduced vinyl records. In 1935, nylon was invented, and it was used to make like nylons like ladies wear under their dresses. In 1938, they started using it to make the bristles in toothbrushes. In World War II, the production of nylons that ladies wear on their legs was halted because they then started using the nylon to make parachutes. After the war, they then, resumed creating nylons. Nylon is highly used. It's very popular today. It's very heat resistant, so you will find nylon even in car parts underneath the hood of your car. In 1950, they started to manufacture polyester. 1951, polypropylene. 1953, polycarbonate. 1954, polystyrene. It was used for insulation, packaging, cups. In the 1960s, high-density polyethylene was what they started to use to replace glass bottles for beverages. And among other things, because before that, glass was what beverages were bottled in. And people didn't drink as much of these beverages that they drink today as they did back then. I remember even when I was a kid growing up in the 1980s, we didn't have pop all the time. It wasn't in the house. We had juice and it came in a can. Does everybody remember when, I think it was Juicy Juice, came in a can? It was just this big metal can, like you would can anything else in, and you would just take a can opener, pop one hole on one side, pop a hole on a smaller one on the other side, and then you could just pour out the can. So juice, once upon a time, came in cans, just like the canned vegetables today. I don't want to say maybe the 90s, and since the 90s, it seems like plastic has started to be used for literally everything. I didn't really notice it being used to the level that it is used today. It wasn't used at this level when I was a kid. It became a thing later. And natural fiber clothing, that was a more common occurrence when I was a kid. I don't remember all of the clothing being made from polyester and nylon and rayon and... Well, rayon, I think, is the one that's actually wood pulp that's goes through this really nasty chemical process to create it, something like that. But the common synthetic fibers are polyester, rayon, modal, spandex, nylon. Those are the synthetic fibers. So in my quest of learning about plastic, I realized that putting our food in things that are going to off-gas harmful chemicals is probably not a good idea. It's also not a good idea to put plastic on our skin. 60% of what we put on our skin, on our faces, on our arms, 60% of what we put on our body is absorbed into our bloodstreams. That goes for makeup, clothing, you name it. If we're putting chemicals on our skin, it's going to be absorbed into our bloodstream. For someone like me with autoimmune issues, that's really not a good idea. It's not a good idea for anyone per se, but for someone like me who's trying to overcome some of these autoimmune issues, it's just really, really bad. Especially since there's this huge link between formaldehyde and thyroid autoimmune issues. And that's something I may talk about in the future also and go into more detail about. But for right now, I want to focus on plastic and how it's in all the clothing. If you go into any department store like Walmart, Target, big box retailers, Kohl's, you go to all of these different stores that you go shopping for clothing, you will find a ridiculous amount of clothing made from polyester. There's you can get it from acrylic and spandex and nylon and all of that kind of stuff. But there is a huge shift toward the clothing being made out of polyester. Why? Because it's really cheap. They can mass produce it and make it cheap. Now, if you're using plastic for clothing, that clothing is not sustainable. It does not break down in a landfill. It's like all the other plastic. And as you wash it, it sheds little fibers. They're called microfibers. They're plastic microfibers that this clothing sheds into the water, which then goes into the sewers and goes into the ground, and we're polluting our entire planet with plastic. Not only are we filling our landfills with plastic that's not going to break down for a gazillion years, but it's starting to be found in the oceans like crazy, and even in the fish. People that eat fish, I don't eat fish, I don't like fish. I'm not a fish person. Just throwing that out there. I don't like fish. So I don't eat that, but what I've read is that they're starting to find that you're even finding the plastic in fish. And there have been instances where they found plastic in rice that came from China. But plastic is cheap and they mass produce it easily. But this is creating a huge problem on our planet, and it is very unhealthy for our skin. Now, the fabrics that have been used for gazillions of years, that's an exaggeration. Just going to throw that out there. When I exaggerate, I use the word gazillion. But since the beginning of time, we have used natural fabrics for our clothing. And a few of the natural clothing options would be cotton, linen, silk, wool, cashmere, hemp. Jute is on my list, but that's not really clothing. They don't use that for clothing. Now, cotton, I would like to throw out a disclaimer. Cotton is the dirtiest crop on the planet. And the numbers that I have here, hold on. Let's see. I had some numbers somewhere talking about natural. Okay, conventional cotton uses more pesticide than any other crop, accounting for 10% of worldwide pesticide use. And 90% of conventional cotton is also genetically modified. So cotton by itself can be a very, very dirty type clothing. But I prefer to buy 100% organic cotton. Now, I will mention that some things that I buy that are organic cotton have a little bit of spandex mixed in. I like to get Maggie's organic leggings, And also I buy leggings from Pact because I wear a lot of dresses, so I usually wear leggings underneath. These are the ones that I picked up today. They're made in Peru. Maggie's Organics are made in Peru. They have a website. You can find it at Maggie's Organics online. But I usually buy my Maggie's Organics from Natural Grocers because they have a rack of Maggie's Organics. So this is made of 90% organic cotton and there's 10% spandex in it. But the only way to get leggings that are stretchy like that is to add a little bit of a unnatural fiber. But the majority of my leggings are, most of what's in my leggings are 100% organic cotton. I buy my leggings from Pact and I buy Maggie's Organics. They breathe better, they're healthier for me. Another thing that I like to get from Maggie's Organics is socks. I love the crew socks from Maggie's Organics. It is hard to find socks that are made of organic cotton. I have always used Hanes, which are made with conventional cotton. So it can be expensive to buy natural fiber clothing, but I have found that when you do buy natural fiber clothing, it holds up better, it lasts longer. If you buy something from, say, Walmart, let's just throw Walmart out there because over the years I've bought a lot of synthetic fabric from Walmart because it was cheap. But the thing I've noticed with the synthetic fibers is that it breaks down really quickly and the clothing falls apart really fast. So people who buy fast fashion, they're buying it all the time, which is contributing to more and more and more going into the landfill. Now, I wanted to cover, there's a reason that I did not mention bamboo, and I'm just going to read the process of making bamboo fabric to you guys because of the fact that it's not really sustainable to make clothing out of bamboo. Cellulose material, such as bamboo, is dissolved in a strong solvent to make a thick, viscous solution that is forced through a spinneret into a quenching solution where strands solidify into fiber. This is sometimes called hydrolysis alkalization, alkalization, or solution spinning because the fiber is spun in a chemical solution. The solvent used for this process is carbon disulfide, a toxic chemical that is a known human reproductive hazard. It can endanger factory workers and pollute the environment via air emissions and wastewater. The recovery of this solvent is in most viscose factories is around 50%, which means that the other half goes into the environment. Other potentially hazardous chemicals are also used in the viscose process, including sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. So I don't support using bamboo. I do have one bamboo bra from a company called Boody, Boody, and I will say it is so comfortable and soft. But I bought it before I realized the process of making bamboo into fabric. I didn't realize how hazardous it was to the environment to make bamboo into fabric. Now, I'm going to read what I have here that is about the various synthetic fabrics to show how bad they are. Polyester is the worst fabric you can buy. It is made from synthetic polymers that are made from esters of dihydric alcohol and terpenthylic acid. Polyester is terrible. It's bad. I don't even want it in any of my clothing. Acrylic fabrics are polycrylonitrile and may cause cancer, according to the EPA. If you go into a store and buy a sweater, more than likely that sweater is going to be made of acrylic, not wool. It's going to be made of acrylic. You can get sweaters that are made of cotton or wool. I know there are some people who are opposed to wool and don't like wool. If you're in a colder environment, you're going to want wool. You're going to want real wool. Just, I do say, if you can, figure out where it's sourced and purchase ethical wool, where you know that the sheep are not being abused and mistreated and that they're being well cared for. Most farmers in the United States are not going to harm their sheep. They care about their sheep. My husband and his family had sheep when my husband was growing up. And when I had showed him some videos about cruelty to sheep, he said, that's not normal. It's like, normal farmers who raise sheep do not abuse their sheep. And you don't try to kill them or harm them. He said, you take good care of your sheep. So, and I know that's true because the one video that was going around that was so terrible was actually from another country. And I have watched numerous sheep farmers on YouTube who are in the United States, and they take care of their sheep. It's generally in other countries where the cruelty happens. I'm not saying it can't happen in the United States. All bad things can happen in the United States. Where there are people, bad things happen. But acrylic is not good for you. You are going to be better off if you have a sweater that is made of either cotton or wool. Rayon is a recycled wood pulp that must be treated with chemicals like caustic soda, ammonia, acetone, and sulfuric acid to survive regular washing and wearing. So, rayon is pretty bad stuff there. Acetate and triacetate are made from wood fibers called cellulose and undergo extensive chemical processing to produce the finished product. Nylon is made from petroleum and is often given a permanent chemical finish that can be harmful. Anything static resistant, stain resistant, permanent press, wrinkle free, stain proof, or moth repellent. Many of the stain resistant and wrinkle free fabrics are treated with perfluorinated chemicals, PFCs, like Teflon. So, a lot of harmful chemicals go into synthetic fabrics. And synthetic fabrics, they don't break down. They're really bad for the environment and for our planet. So I try to avoid the synthetic fabrics. Once I was made aware of them, it took me a while to realize when I was buying clothing what that clothing was made of. It seems like it happened gradually that everything in the store started to be made of synthetic fabrics, because once upon a time you could go into, say, Walmart and just go buy a plain cotton t-shirt. This last fall, I went to multiple stores looking for a plain white cotton t-shirt. Could not find it. I had to get online, and I found white t-shirts, plain 100% organic cotton t-shirts at Pact. Their website is www.wearpact.com. That's where I ended up having to get cotton t-shirts through Pact, because you can't walk into a store and find a t-shirt that is 100% organic cotton, which is very, very, very tragic. I swear Walmart used to have, even if it wasn't organic cotton t-shirts, at least they had 100% cotton, which I know is not ideal, but it's still going to be better than buying a polyester t-shirt, which is what all of the t-shirts are now. So, natural fiber clothing is more sustainable because it will break down. I know there are a lot of people who say that you should be able to go to, say, a thrift store. It is sustainable to go to a thrift store and buy secondhand, but even when it comes to using secondhand, yes, is better. It's best to get as much use out of something as you possibly can. So buying secondhand is great. For me, for someone who is trying to avoid the polyester clothing, not just for the fact that it's bad for the environment, but also because of health issues, buying secondhand isn't always the greatest. trust me, I do go to like Goodwill and Salvation Army, and I do look at the racks to see, is there anything in my size? Is there anything with synthetic? Or is there anything, is there anything with natural fibers? Because I do want to buy secondhand where I can, but there is almost never anything in my size that is worth buying at a secondhand store. So yeah, natural fibers like cotton. I'm wearing 100% organic cotton. It's a t-shirt dress from Pact that I bought last year. This is going to break down. You can literally compost your Pact clothes. So the process for me of how this is going to go is this dress, and it's holding up very well. Very, very well. When this dress wears out or starts to have holes or tears, if it's something I can repair, I will repair it. When it gets to the point that I can no longer repair this dress, then I will cut it up and use it as cleaning rags. When those cleaning rags fall apart to the point that I can no longer use them, those cleaning rags will then go into my compost. So the life cycle for my organic cotton clothing, and almost everything I wear is organic cotton. Almost everything. I don't wear hardly anything anymore that's any other type of fabric. I don't even buy, I used to have an addiction to Victoria's Secret and their bras and everything, but if you look at those bras, they're made of synthetic fabric. They have those underwires, which are also plastic, and they're uncomfortable, they're horrible. So we're literally, and I kind of wonder sometimes, is this contributing to the breast cancer? Somebody do a study, I guess. Somebody just do a study. Because I want to know, is putting plastic on our breasts, is that contributing to the breast cancer in this world? It's got to be. I can't think of any other reason. Well, I guess what we eat also affects how we... It affects everything. Everything in our environment affects things. But it just seems like there's an awful lot of cancer in this world. And I'm betting it's because of what we put on our skin and what we eat, what we put in our bodies, what we breathe. Okay. So, I want to talk just briefly about expense. Organic cotton or natural fiber clothing is more expensive. But I have found out that the pieces that I buy that are natural fiber, they hold up longer. They last me longer. And also, I don't own a lot of clothing, so I don't have a lot of money tied up into my closet. But my natural fiber clothing, it's lasting. And I buy from companies that focus on quality. I've got a couple of 100% cotton. I don't think they're organic though. From Woolovers. I don't know if you guys have heard of Woolovers, but Woolovers sells natural fiber clothing, nothing plastic. So I do like to support them because I like what they're doing. I do wish that they would do more with organic when it comes to the cotton, but I do like what they're doing. I like the direction that this company is heading. So I do have two cotton dresses from Woolovers that I wear that I like. But you pay more in the beginning, but you get a lot of use out of that article of clothing. And if you aren't someone like me who's highly invested in fashion, I don't care about fashion. I want functional, I want healthy. So I'll spend more for an organic cotton, like a t-shirt dress, and I'll probably wear this thing for years before it wears out. So I don't need to buy any dresses. I don't need anything else right now. The only thing that I tend to need to purchase anymore is leggings, because I do wear those out. And actually that's about it. Socks. I have purchased some bras from Pact because of the fact that I wanted even my bras to be organic cotton. And I went with some sports bras at first, and there was some bralettes, but the bralettes were terrible because if you lift your arms, like there was no elastic type across the bottom. So when you lift your arms, your boobs come out the bottom. They would slide up your boobs. So I did not like the bralettes. I tried the sports bras. They're not terrible, but they still weren't terribly comfortable. Pact recently came out with a bra that is a full coverage bra, and it's got ruching in the front, and I bought 2 of them, and it is amazing. I love that thing. So I have finally found what will work for me when it comes to natural fiber bras, because even my bras are going to be natural fibers. I'm not going to put anything more on my skin that is harmful to my skin. I'm very picky about what goes on my skin. This is why I don't put like makeup on. You don't see nothing. This is my face bare. I don't put stuff on my skin. So anyway, thank you for watching my talk about clothing and why I prefer natural fiber clothing. Natural fibers are more breathable. They are healthier for your skin. And they did a study one time where they had polyester and cotton on someone's skin, and they tested the skin under each spot, and they discovered that even the moisture content of your skin when you're using natural fibers is better. So to a certain extent, wearing synthetic fibers on your skin is going to age your skin, because you want to keep the moisture in your skin. One of the secrets to keeping healthier skin is moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and enjoy your staying at home because of the lockdown. And I hope too many of the people that watch my channel are not being affected by lack of work, because that is the part that is most heart-wrenching, is the number of people who are out of work right now. And I'm really hoping and praying that everyone is able to bring in some kind of an income for themselves through this pandemic. But please hit the like, share, subscribe, and come back when I have more videos. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.